What up, y'all? Time to talk about the Georgia Tech versus Pittsburgh game, man. I'm going to give you my thoughts. As y'all know, I was just there on campus covering the game. I'm going to give you my honest takeaways and what I thought of this game. First off, it's unfortunate for Georgia Tech, but the playoff hopes are likely done. It's in the shredder. Also, their ACC title hopes are also in the shredder as well. This was a big game, man. The crowd showed out. I mean, the crowd was phenomenal all game long. Even in spurts when it was down 28-0, they stayed. They believed in this team. So Georgia Tech had something special when it comes to their home crowd. They got something special when it comes to their team and them supporting them. Like, I would not put another game at Mercedes-Benz if it's a home game for me, if I'm Georgia Tech, because you obviously see this crowd believes and they're going to show out for you. But this game comes down to, it wasn't even the Mason Heistel show, right? Like, he played well, but I thought Georgia Tech did a really good job of adjusting to him, right, and making it tough. Defense really balled in this game towards the second half, right? Obviously, besides that big run, we'll talk about Ja'Carrion Turner here in a second, but they really adjusted, right? And obviously, they got a lot of sacks, right? 6 sacks, 7 TFLs. We've been asking for that all year long. They were not getting that over the past 4 or 5 games. They got that tonight and then some. So credit their defensive line for that aspect, not the run defense, but for creating pressure on Heistel. Did a really good job. But what the game comes down to, y'all, is they didn't do a good job in the first quarter. Right? Like, I don't know what it is with Georgia Tech, and it's not talked about enough, but they have slow starts. I don't know why that is, whether it's on the defense side of the ball or the offense side of the ball. They just have slow starts, man. You can't have that when you have big games of this magnitude. They got out to such a slow start. They were down 20-0 at one point, right? I think they had 3 punts in the first quarter alone, 0 for 5 on third down. They just couldn't get it going. And like I said, when you're playing a decent team like Pittsburgh, you can't have that, right? Now, the response for their team was really good, I thought, right? Because you're down 20-0, you come back 28-14, right? Then King throws that pick six, you're down 35-14. You know, you could have melded in. They never melded in. So credit them for always continuing to fight. I know there's no silver lining in a loss, but this team does have great resolve, and they play really well when their backs is against the wall. But the running game in this one struggled. That's another one of my takeaways, right? Only 121 yards rushing in this game, 3.7 yards per carry. I don't know what Malachi Hosley was dealing with, but there was some sort of injury. He got a little bit of banged up, and he was missing time. I think that affected them a little bit in their run game. He plays with a different level of physicality. Jamal Haynes is good, don't get me wrong, but he plays with a different level of physicality. When Malachi Hosley is on, they are tough to stop because he runs with power and force, with also the agility and speed to get to that second level pretty quickly. He is really, really, really good. And slept on, in my humble opinion, man. So that hurt them a lot in this game too. And then number two, it has to be said, you know, I'm one of those. I know I'm a glass half full guy, but Haynes King did not play good in this game. Now the stats will show something different, but he looked rushed. Right now, the protection didn't do what it was supposed to do in this game, and we'll see the PFF grades afterwards. But they didn't do a great job of protecting him, but he was not good in the red zone in this game at all. Obviously, we talked about the pick six, but he just seemed rushed, like he was rushing throws. He didn't seem like his cool, calm, and collected self. And as a team, it felt like Georgia Tech, I don't know if it was senior night or the big game on being on ESPN, all the eyes on you. I don't know if that was a part of it, but they didn't play how they normally play. And King, like I said, he rushed a lot of stuff, especially in those key spots of the game, in my humble opinion. Credit him for his valiant effort. But if he could have been even remotely of what his normal self is, I think they would have won this game, right? If you would have just threw the ball out of bounds on that 28-14, third down, go to fourth down, if you would have did that instead of throwing that pick six, I think that changes the game. It's 28-17. You're rolling, right? You're in the game. You have the momentum. So those different things hurt them in this one. King has to be better moving forward, and it sucks for him because that's his last game at Bobby Dodd Stadium. That's it. There's no coming back after that. You know what I'm saying? They got Georgia, obviously, state championship, as they call it, but definitely a tough game for him. Now, a player that did stand out, Isaiah King, obviously showed something in this game. 4 catches, 67 yards, and 2 touchdowns. He showed, even with some of the errant throws, that he can adjust to the football. He can make big-time plays. He had that drop earlier in the game, but he showed that he can come up and make big-time plays, and he's going to be a building block in the future for Georgia Tech. So that is one, obviously, of the bright spots in this game for the Yellow Jackets, is having that weaponry, those pieces on the outside in order to step up for him. So I thought he had a pretty good game besides that one drop that he had. Leak Rutherford also was pretty dependent in this game. 6 catches, 68 yards. He was moving the sticks. I would like to see them use Jordan Allen a little bit more with his versatility, his speed. But I thought overall, like, the receivers for the most part stepped up pretty big. And then going to the defense, right? I don't know what it is. They got to figure it out. But Ja'Carrion Taylor should not, like, they cannot figure out the run defense this year. It's been tough. Now, I don't know if it's a personnel issue or if it's a scheme issue, but that part they have to figure out, right? Because you can't give up 200 yards to back up running backs. They did it against NC State, and that's why they lost. Jaden Duke-Scott had darn near close to 200 yards. Obviously, he had the 56-yard run at the end of the game. He had 200 yards and 9.6 yards per carry. That should not be happening if you're the defense. Now, again, the defense did a good job of creating the pressure in the pass game, making it tough for him, making him pad and hold the ball. But you cannot have that. You cannot have backup running backs, no Desmond Reed in this game, rushing for that kind of yardage. That's not going to cut it. It's just not going to cut it. But I thought he did really good. Credit to Mason Highsmith because he could have threw some picks in this game, but he was 20 for 27. He did decent. Questionable calls, obviously, by Pat Narduzzi and going for it on fourth and 9 and things like that could have came back to bite him. But I thought overall a pretty stellar game from Heitzel. He played really well. Ja'Carrion Turner played well. And Kenny Johnson, they didn't really have an answer for him. They did shut him down, though. He did at one point in the first half have 5 catches for 83 yards in a tub. They held him to a catch for 8 yards the rest of the way. So credit them for adjusting. Very good adjusting team Georgia Tech is. But at the bottom line, at the end of it, man, your hopes are done, right? You was trying to book a ticket to go to Charlotte, and you came up short. You couldn't finish the job. You couldn't finish the task at hand, and it cost you. You know what I'm saying? It cost you. Even at 10-2, I don't see them getting in if they beat Georgia next week, right? Obviously they're top 14, but it's like, how would Tech get in? It feels like the committee favors more so Miami over Tech anyway, right? And Tech is desperately in need of a quality win. Obviously, Georgia will be a quality win, but one quality win all year, again, according to the committee, is that good enough? I don't know if it is or isn't. You know what I'm saying? That's subjective. So, yeah, man, Georgia Tech in a tough spot. But like I said, if you finish 10-2 on a year, man, that's a phenomenal season. That's improvement. You know what I'm saying? You were 7-6 the year before, 7-6 again, and then you go 10-2. That's a really good, obviously start. But they got to know this 2026 recruiting class, and they got to know the portal. That's what it comes down to Georgia Tech. They got to know those two things, man, and get the pieces they need in order to win these big games. You know what I'm saying? They struggle in some pieces and areas. If they go and continue to recruit at a high level, I think that can definitely turn it around for them. But that'll be something to watch going forward. But that's my honest thoughts. That's my honest assessment. Tough loss at home, man. You want to play better, but Georgia Tech now on the outside looking in, man, and look to finish the season strong against Georgia, obviously before, the final game of the year, and they play on Friday right after Thanksgiving. So we'll see the response of this team. But playoff hopes in jeopardy now, and obviously no ACC title game unless a lot of things go their way. Tough spot to be in for the Yellow Jackets.